What's up, everyone? I am Andy Lang from Wager Talk. I have your North Star Bets Week 14 NFL player prop picks. We're going to go over some of my favorite props to cash in on North Star Bets in Week 14, along with our underdog of the week. Let's get into it. We're calling this segment Over the Counter. This is one player prop I like to go over and one team prop I like to go over. Find them on North Star Bets. I like Amon Ra-St Brown over his receiving yards or his receptions. Both should be a great bet. I love an elite wide receiver against a bad pass defense, and St. Brown gets maybe the best matchup in the league right now against the Minnesota Vikings. He's at home, he's indoors on a fast track, and him and Jared Goff are absolutely in the zone together. In the last 4 games, St. Brown is averaging 9.25 receptions per game and 108 receiving yards. Those were against the Jaguars, the Bills, the Giants, and the Bears. And this week, he gets the Vikings, who have given up over 345 yards passing in their last 3 games. And this is not a small sample size for Minnesota. They are the worst pass defense in the league in 2022. Last game, they gave up 162 yards to the New York Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson. I expect Amon Ra-St Brown to have 7 or more catches for over 100 yards. So take the overs on Amon Ra-St Brown on his yards and receptions. For my favorite team prop, I like the Miami Dolphins over 13.5 first half team total points. This is just for the Miami Dolphins to score over 13.5 points. I love these totals that are under 2 touchdowns. Since coming back from the injury, Tua has started 6 games. And the Dolphins have scored 16 or more points in 5 of those games. The only under they had was against San Francisco, which is a top 3 defense in the league. And Miami was without their best offensive lineman, Teron Armstead. Even against that defense and without Armstead, they still scored 10 points in the first half. And they get to play the Chargers, who are 22nd this season in first half points allowed. Coach McDaniel of the Dolphins said he's optimistic Armstead will play this weekend, which will be a huge boost for their offense. The Chargers are the 29th ranked rush defense and the 22nd ranked pass defense. Look for Tua and Waddle and Hill and Wilson and all those weapons to get over this 13.5 first half team total on Miami. Up next, we're going to play swipe right, swipe left. These are players I like and players I reject this week. Let's take a look at 2 running backs. These guys are on the same team, but you got to look at overs on Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. These guys are both getting a ton of carries. They're both averaging 31 carries per game in the last 3, and they get to face the worst rush defense in the league in the Houston Texans. You can take their rushing totals. I actually like their touchdown props. Zeke has scored 7 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Pollard has scored 6 touchdowns in the last 5 games. These guys are both finding the end zone, and the Texans have allowed 14 rushing touchdowns this year. Take both guys to score this weekend. You could look at their rushing yards, but me personally, I'm taking their touchdown props. Players with bad matchups this week, got to look at Najee Harris. He's rushed for 86 or more yards in 3 out of 4 games, but he faces the Ravens, who are the best rush defense right now in the NFL. This Ravens defense is not giving up any yards. The last 4 games, they've given up 54 yards a game total. That's total to the teams. His line might be inflated this week, Najee Harris. He's coming off of some really good games. He played a bad Falcons team last week. So look for his line to be a little bit inflated. I cashed on Latavius Murray's under last week against the Ravens. I'm going to take the Ravens defense to hold Najee Harris under. And then a surprise here, Patrick Mahomes. Listen, Mahomes, we all know what a juggernaut he can be, and he had gone over his passing total 7 games in a row. But last week against the Bengals, he came in way under his total. He only completed 16 passes, and he plays an elite pass defense in the Denver Broncos. They only give up 184 yards a game passing this year. But you can run on the Broncos, and Andy Reid and the Chiefs offense, they know how to exploit the weakness of the other team. Do not be surprised if Isaiah Pacheco has a really nice game and creeps up near 100 yards rushing. But I think Mahomes comes under this total. I would expect Denver to focus on Travis Kelce, and I think this total is going to be really inflated. It's probably going to be pushing close to 300 yards. Take Mahomes under against that elite Denver Broncos defense. Up next, let's do doggy style. This is the best underdog of the week. We're looking at the Carolina Panthers +4 over the Seattle Seahawks. The Panthers on the road, we're taking them to get the points. Not only am I taking them with the points, I'm sprinkling the money line. I think they can win this game outright. The Seahawks have injuries at running back, and their defense is not playing well. Pro Football Focus actually has the Seahawks defense ranked as the 10th worst defense in the NFL. And they are coming off of a 4-point win against John Wolford and the Rams with no Aaron Donald and no Cooper Kupp. That is not an impressive win at all. The Panthers have won 2 out of their 3 games, and they are coming off of a bye. Believe it or not, they are only 2 games behind the Buccaneers for the division lead, who they actually own the tiebreaker over. So the Panthers are actually motivated. They're still in the playoff hunt. They're still in the division race. They're going to be rested. The Panthers go into Seattle. I think they cover. Do not be surprised if the Panthers shock everyone and pull off the upset. So to recap, we're looking at Amon Ra-St Brown over his receiving yards and his receptions. We're going to take the Dolphins over 13.5 first half team total points. I do like Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard to both score against the touchdowns. I'm fading Najee Harris on his rushing total and Patrick Mahomes on his passing total. And I like the Carolina Panthers +4 with a little sprinkle on the money line. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I'm Andy Lang from Wager Talk. All bets can be found at North Star Bets. Good luck. Let's have a profitable weekend.